coming to you live in a living color from the Radio What Studios, and this is my podcast, What Makes You Smarter. It's an extension of the RadioWhat.com internet radio station that I've been running for quite some time. And if you need DJ services, where do I always send you? DJLittleRock.com. One more time, DJLittleRock.com. Check availability and get a free price quote, and maybe you can have me at your next event. You know, on the ones and twos, the digital wheels of steel. I actually do have wheels of steel. I have a controller. I have a nice Pioneer controller, so I can control the music and make it sound that much better. Mixing and scratching and all that kind of thing. The things that a DJ is supposed to do. I can do it. I can do it for you. Make that party much better. I'll be as high energy or as low key as you want. I could be just sitting in that area, just next to the dance floor, playing the music that you want to hear. You know, keeping quiet. You know, while the people have their little food and stuff, and then when it's time for the party to break out, we have a good time. Yeah. There's a certain flow to events. You know, the first part is usually a meet and greet and getting to know you. We don't need the music being all crazy, you know, but then at the end, sometimes people want to shake their booties. And I definitely got that booty shaking music, whatever you want to hear. I'm just thinking about the party I had last Saturday. Man, great wedding. Oh, fantastic. Good people. I'm just, I'm stoked. It went real well. I mean, it was mostly country music. Yeah, country party, country love songs for the first few hours. Lots of Harley Davidsons parked all around the wedding venue. It was beautiful. It was so cool. All right. Well, hey, I'm gushing. It was a good time. And speaking of good times, I do have, I have one public show this week. I did have the Cedar Lounge Bar and Grill, but they're closing up for this week to do some cleaning, a little fall cleaning, I guess. They did their spring cleaning, so I guess they're doing a fall cleaning, and they've assured me that they'll be opened up next Wednesday, just in time for the karaoke jam next Thursday. So this Thursday, there won't be any, there won't be anything at the Cedar Lounge Bar and Grill, except people scrubbing the place up and making it all fresh and pretty for you. Cedar Lounge Bar and Grill in Morrilton, Arkansas. Yeah. I have a karaoke show there on Thursday nights. That's the newest karaoke show that I have. But I do have one Friday night, my regular Friday night gig at the Rab in Conway, Arkansas. The Rab, R-A-B. Backwards, when you look at it in your rearview mirror as you're driving by, which you shouldn't be doing. You should not be driving by. You should be going right up the hill and right into the Rab. But if you do happen to pass it by and you look at it in the rearview mirror, it says bar. And you go, isn't this a dry county? How could there be a bar? That's what they did. They named it Rab, and they flipped the letters R and they flipped the B as well. So, it just says bar as you're driving by. Isn't that neat? They're so clever. They're clever, those people up there on the hill, on the hippie hill. It's called the Hippie Hill because it's right next to the 70s store, and you could see the iconic hippie van out there, 70s store van. It's pretty cool. But the Rab is right up there. Full bar, kitchen's open, pool tables, pool tournament on Friday nights. Yeah, so if you want to try to make some money on a Friday night playing pool, you can do it at the Rab. You can do it. And then, you know, of course, on the other side of the room, on that side of the room, it's pool tables. On this side of the room, karaoke show. Yeah, you're the stars of the show. You know what I'm talking about. If you could sing in the shower, if you could sing in the car, if you could sing just a little bit, I got magic microphones. I'll make you sing that much better. You will sound that much better. You'll go, hey, I like the way this thing sounds. Man, I've gotten so many people that come off the stage that, just have been there. This will be their first time showing up to the karaoke show at the Rab, and they'll come off the stage going, man, got it sounding good up here. Yeah, it's a little concert starring you. That's what we do. Yeah, and I take that mobile stuff, and I'll take it to your event as well. How about that? So come join me at the Rab, Conway, Arkansas, Friday night, 8 p.m. until 1 a.m. All right. Also, if you'd like to tell your story or hear the stories of others, I encourage you to check out my other podcast, What Makes You Famous. Find it everywhere using the hashtag What Makes You Famous. Now, on with the show. Today on the program, 10 things you need to know today for Monday, November 9th, 2020. 10 things you need to know today. Number 1, George W. Bush congratulates Biden as Trump refuses to concede. Former President George W. Bush on Sunday congratulated President-elect Joe Biden on his victory, even as President Trump continued to refuse to concede, and make unfounded claims that Democrats had cheated. Quote, though we have political differences, I know Joe Biden to be a good man who has won his opportunity to lead and unify our country, end quote, Bush said in a statement. Bush added that Trump has the right to pursue legal challenges, but, quote, the outcome is clear, end quote. The president's campaign has filed challenges in battleground states. Judges in Michigan and Georgia threw out Trump lawsuits for lack of evidence. CNN reported that First Lady Melania Trump and Trump's senior advisor and son-in-law Jared Kushner urged him to accept Biden's victory, although Axios said Kushner favored pursuing, quote, legal remedies, end quote. Oh, that was according to the Texas Tribune and CNN. There we go. Number 2, Pfizer COVID-19 vaccine candidate over 90% effective in interim analysis. A coronavirus vaccine candidate in development from Pfizer and BioNTech was found to be more than 90% effective against COVID-19 in a first interim analysis, the companies announced on Monday. In an analysis of 94 subjects infected with the coronavirus, the company said that the early data, quote, indicates a vaccine efficacy rate above 90%, end quote. This was a better rate than anticipated. Pfizer previously said it could seek emergency use authorization from the Food and Drug Administration for its vaccine candidate later in November. And Pfizer CEO Albert Bourla on Monday said, quote, today is a great day for science and humanity, end quote, adding, quote, we look forward to sharing additional efficacy and safety data generated from thousands of participants in the coming weeks, end quote. This is according to the Wall Street Journal and the Washington Post. Number 3, record coronavirus wave pushes total U.S. cases to 10 million. The latest wave of coronavirus infections continued to gain strength on Sunday, with the total number of U.S. cases reaching 10 million. The latest million came in just the last 10 days, with 4 straight days of 100,000 plus increases. The 7-day U.S. average is over 100,000, far beyond the levels in other countries. The death toll stood at more than 237,000 as of late Sunday, and the Centers for Disease Control and Prevention predicted that the total could reach 256,000 by November 21st. New York Governor Andrew Cuomo, Democrat, said that the election of Joe Biden, who advocates more aggressive measures to fight the pandemic, could reduce, quote, the political pressure of denying COVID, end quote, and empower scientists to, quote, speak with an unmuzzled voice now, end quote. This is according to the New York Times. Number 4, attention shifts to Georgia Senate runoffs. After news outlets projected over the weekend that Joe Biden had won the presidential election, Democrats and Republicans shifted their attention to 2 Georgia Senate runoffs expected to determine which party controls the Senate. No candidate won an absolute majority in either of the Senate contests in Georgia, so the seats will be determined in January 5th runoffs. Republicans need at least one of the seats to hold on to a narrow majority, which they see as necessary to block Biden's agenda, including tax hikes on the wealthy. Democrats who need to flip both seats see the votes as crucial to building their momentum and passing Biden's policies. Quote, I don't think it's possible to overstate how big these races are, end quote, said Nsi Ufot, chief executive of the New Georgia Project, which focuses on mobilizing young voters of color. This is according to the Washington Post. Number 5, Biden announces COVID-19 task force picks. President-elect Joe Biden announced his 13-member COVID-19 task force on Monday. Biden made his criticism of President Trump's handling of the coronavirus crisis a focus of his campaign. Quote, our work begins with getting COVID under control, end quote. Biden said over the weekend after news organizations projected him as the winner in enough states to give him more than the 270 electoral votes needed to take the White House. Biden named 3 co-chairs, former Surgeon General Vivek Murthy, a key Biden advisor, former Food and Drug Administration Commissioner David Kessler, and Dr. Marcella Nunez-Smith, a Yale University professor. The task force announcement is expected to be part of week-long focus for Biden on healthcare, particularly the pandemic. This is according to the New York Times. Number 6, astronauts arrive ahead of SpaceX's second crew launch. 4 astronauts on Sunday arrived at Kennedy Space Center in Florida to prepare for SpaceX's second crew launch next weekend. NASA has relied on Russian spacecraft to get astronauts into orbit since the retirement of the Space Shuttle fleet. The SpaceX mission marks the beginning of NASA's use of private companies to make regular crew rotations at the International Space Station. Boeing will fly its first crew next summer. This SpaceX flight will have twice as many astronauts as its first test flight earlier this year. Quote, make no mistake, every flight is a test flight when it comes to space travel, end quote. NASA Administrator Jim Bridenstine said, quote, but it's also true that we need to routinely be able to go to the International Space Station, end quote. This is according to the Associated Press. Number 7, Suu Kyi's party declares victory in Myanmar elections. Myanmar voters crowded polls Sunday in the country's second truly contested election in decades. The ruling National League for Democracy Party of civilian leader Aung San Suu Kyi declared that it had won enough seats in parliament to retain power. The State Union Election Commission has not finished tallying the votes, which it previously said could take a week. No figures were immediately available on the turnout, but the clearly high participation level was interpreted as a sign of voters' commitment to democracy after decades of dictatorship by the still powerful military. The NLD was widely expected to win, with Suu Kyi's popularity for fighting for democracy under military dictatorships overshadowing the deterioration of the party's relations with ethnic minority-based parties. This is according to the New York Times and the Washington Post. Number 8, stock futures skyrocket after Pfizer coronavirus vaccine news. U.S. stock futures shot higher early Monday after Pfizer and BioNTech announced that the trial data suggested their COVID-19 vaccine candidate is 90% effective. Futures for the Dow Jones Industrial Average were 4.3% higher 2 hours before the opening bell. Futures for the S&P 500 and the NASDAQ were up by 3.6% and by 2% respectively. Wall Street was already on track to open the week with gains and extend last week's post-election rally. Analysts said investors were expecting relief that former Vice President Joe Biden had won enough states for a clear electoral college victory, but Republicans appeared likely to hold on to a narrow Senate majority, setting the stage for the kind of gridlock that blocks drastic policy change that markets don't like. This is according to CNBC. Number 9, ETA moves into Gulf of Mexico after crossing Florida Keys. Tropical storm ETA moved off the southwest coast of Florida early Monday after crossing Cuba and the Florida Keys. The storm had top sustained winds of 65 miles per hour and was expected to return to hurricane strength after moving over the warm waters of the Gulf of Mexico. ETA brushed South Florida with high winds, heavy rains, and the threat of dangerous storm surge. Hurricane warnings were lifted for the Keys, and a hurricane watch was lifted in South Florida. Forecasters warned that ETA, which killed dozens in Central America, could hit Florida twice, taking a turn to the west into the Gulf of Mexico before heading northeast and making a second landfall farther north on the state's Gulf Coast. This is according to weather.com and NPR. Number 10, Jeopardy host Alex Trebek dies at 80. Longtime Jeopardy host Alex Trebek died Sunday morning after an extended battle with pancreatic cancer, the show confirmed in a tweet. He was 80. He was reportedly surrounded by family and friends when he passed away, quote, peacefully, end quote. Trebek had been under treatment for pancreatic cancer for more than a year. He publicly revealed the diagnosis from the Jeopardy set in March of 2019. Trebek hosted Jeopardy for a record-setting run of nearly 37 years, beginning in 1984. He hosted more than 8,000 episodes, surpassing the record set by The Price is Right host Bob Barker's 6,828 episodes between 1972 and 2007. During Trebek's long run, he won 6 daytime Emmys. This is according to BuzzFeed News and the New York Times. That's 10 things you need to know today for Monday, November 9th, 2020. Thank you so much for listening. I appreciate it. This has been What Makes You Smarter. This is Keys Dan, trying to fill my head with knowledge, making myself smarter, keeping up with current events. And while I'm at it, might as well open up this broadcast software and speak into the mic. But don't take my word for the only. Don't take me as the only news source, especially with all my stumbling and stuttering. Make sure that you look up all the footnotes at the bottom of every news item, all 10 of those news items, and make sure that I am correct. Do your research, people, and find the truth. Always strive to find the truth. You know, I hope that that the news items that get curated for me in the mornings or during the days are truthful. I'm trying to be truthful. But if you have any questions or concerns or comments or any comments that may say that these are false, please, by all means, drop me some comments. Let me know what you're up to. Let me know what's going on in your neck of the woods. Let me know how you feel. I really want to know. Especially, I have another podcast, the What Makes You Famous podcast. That's my interview podcast where I get to learn from people. So if you'd like to tell your story or hear the stories of others, I encourage you to give me a call, 501-470-6386, or email info@radiowhat.com. We'll have a whole conversation. How about that? You can promote yourself or talk about you. Everybody's got a story. Everybody's got a story. You got a story. All right. And if you want to watch me do some online gaming, I'll probably do some a little bit later. You can watch me stream online games, give me some pointers and all that kind of thing. You can watch me using the hashtag KeysDanGaming. I'm on Twitch and Facebook Gaming. All right, that's it for me. KeysDan, RadioWhat.com, DJ Little Rock.